लंबे चले आंदोलन के बाद 8 साल पहले तेलंगाना का राज्य के तौर पर गठन हुआ। इन 8 सालों में क्या बदलाव हुए, क्या चुनौतियां रही, इस पर बात की हमारे सहयोगी विष्णु सोम ने तेलंगाना के मंत्री केटीआर से।
So it's the 2nd of June. Telangana is India's youngest state. How is it a state which has achieved so much despite being so young?
Well, firstly, I think it's the leadership that matters, and our Honorable Chief Minister, who was actually the leader of the popular agitation for Telangana's statehood, has been blessed by the people of Telangana to lead the state, and therefore, all the aspirations of the people is something that he's extremely familiar with, and he's made that his agenda.
Right.
In the last 8 years of Telangana's existence, we have done some truly remarkable things which I think are laudable from an India perspective as well. One of the things I'll tell you is the fact that, Telangana, while when we started off, we were a power deficit state, but within a matter of 6 months, our Honorable Chief Minister had resolved that we would become a power surplus and self-sufficient state, and that's exactly what he was able to accomplish. What could not have been done in 6 decades, he was able to pull that off in a matter of 6 months. The second thing I'd point out is something that's truly remarkable from a state perspective. In 75 years of India after independence, not a single state which thought about giving potable drinking water connection to each and every home. And now that is something truly remarkable because we have spent nearly $9 billion, and we have laid 140,000 kilometers of pipeline,
right.
And we've been able to connect each and every rural and urban household in Telangana with a 135 LPCD in municipalities, 100 LPCD in villages, and 165 LPCD in corporations. The most important achievement, if you ask me, though, is the disruptions that we have created in terms of our policy.
Right.
In fact, Telangana is possibly the only state where a holistic model can be seen.
Sure.
You have rapid industrialization on one hand and then rapid environment growth on the other.
Right.
7.7% increase in our green cover and ability to attract industries through a very popular
Sure.
policy called as the TSI pass.
Right.
I can go on.
Sure.
But
let me ask you this, it's a deep emotional moment for you also, the 2nd of June. You, your father, many in your party, at one stage may never have believed that this would be a reality. It is a reality now. Could you tell us, growing up, what the idea of Telangana meant to you, and once it was realized, let's think back to what it felt like.
Well, in 2001, when the TRS was formed, it did seem like a mission impossible because the fight was against all odds because, everything was stacked up against this popular agitation, unfortunately. But the steely resolve of our leader is something that is truly testament to his commitment, his sincerity toward the cause. And that is exactly how he went about in a period of 14 years. He at one stage in 2009 had to go on a fast unto death. He fasted for 11 days. Eventually the UPA government actually came forward and announced Telangana, but then in a matter of 15 days again they went back. So the intense agitation that happened and also the intense pressure that was built on the parliamentary democracy, the democratic setup in Delhi is something that truly is something for the record books.
Yeah.
Because if you ask me, a peaceful agitation for a sustained period without really disrupting without resorting to violence is something that we take a lot of pride in. So yes, there were many ups and downs, but nevertheless, I think today the very fact that Telangana has not only been formed, but after 8 years it is looked at as a state which is a role model in a lot of areas, is a matter of great pride for all of us.
Let's talk about specific areas, in your economy or areas of excellence and areas where you feel that more needs to be done. Let's talk first about pharma. The fact that, in terms of vaccines, Telangana is a world leader. The number of vaccines made in your state, it's incredible from a global standpoint.
Yes, in fact, one of the biggest achievements of Telangana, if you ask me, is the consolidation that we had done in the life sciences space. Vaccines, because everybody's talking about vaccines now because of the pandemic, but the fact is 1/3 of human vaccines are actually produced from Telangana, and we continue to build on that momentum and continue to build on that story because Even today, I had a meeting with other, at Davos with other Poonawalla, and I was asking him also to come join, the bevy of vaccine makers in Hyderabad. So, a lot of activity on vaccine front, but more importantly, I think what Telangana has achieved, he's positioned itself really well for the next wave of opportunities that are going to come out of the intersection of health tech and information technology. And now that is an area which is exciting, because I think India really has a great opportunity there to provide solutions, not just for India, but also for the rest of the world. And Telangana is ideally poised there.
So medtech, what you're talking about, medicine and technology, the life sciences space, you've got huge companies operating in Hyderabad, Novartis, Medtronics. Could you give us an idea of how this represents the absolute high tech or the higher end of the science of medicine and science coming together, medicine and technology coming together?
Well, technology really has permeated into every sphere of life now. And if you think about it for a minute, none of us are exempt, in terms of how powerful it has become, influence it has become in our daily lives. If you look at healthcare, or even if you look at life sciences at large, the possibilities using technology to innovate, the possibilities using technology to kind of come out with newer opportunities is something that is only limited by imagination. Right. So therefore, Novartis, when they set up their campus in Hyderabad in digital drug discovery, initially, they also may not have thought that this would become so big. Now they're 9,000 plus. And they are into multiple things. They use the cutting edge technologies like AI and ML, and they are into clinical trial management. They are into, digital drug discovery. And so is the case with Medtronic. Medtronic is a large medical devices company, which is also, again, having its second largest base in Hyderabad and Telangana. But what's even more important, Vishnu, is the whole idea, the whole notion that the next couple of decades are going to be very, very important from the healthcare perspective. And the fact that India really can continue to work with the best minds in the world and come out with truly world-class solutions in telemedicine, in robotics, all of these areas. In fact, Telangana can actually latch onto opportunities, and once again, not just for India, but innovate for the rest of the world.
Now, T-Hub, which is the world's largest incubation facility, tell us a little bit about that, because it's physically very large, but obviously it's meant to be very large in terms of ideas.
Well, the idea really is that we give a platform to the young Indians who are having global aspirations. Today, technology has connected the world with young India, and Indians, especially the youngsters, are dreaming big, thinking big, and they're all really upbeat about the possibilities. So therefore, what we've done is we've created a physical infrastructure in terms of our campus, and we also provide mentorship, we also provide other support, which kind of helps them to basically write a business plan, to raise capital, to scale up. So that is something that truly, I believe in personally, and our Honorable Chief Minister has been guiding us, enabling, government being the enabler. And in a lot of cases, when startups especially seek our help, government ends up being the first customer. We give them not only business, we give them the ability to also come out with a proof of concept, which I think is extremely important from our startup perspective.
We've spoken about high technology and pharma. Let's talk about basic technology linked to agriculture. Lift irrigation, right? You've got the world's largest. Tell us about this particular area where this has been implemented and the significance of this.
Well, Telangana not only has implemented some large-scale infrastructure projects, the world's largest lift irrigation project, like you said, Kaleshwaram, but more importantly, the whole irrigation aspect and agriculture and the fortunes, of both are intertwined. So the farming sector in Telangana, in fact, had to be given a massive fillip, and that's exactly what our Honorable Chief Minister had done. He launched a couple of very interesting projects, a program called Mission Kakatiya. Telangana is a land of 46,000 tanks and lakes. We have launched a massive program, in fact, of rejuvenating and strengthening the lakes, because each of these tanks actually has the potential to irrigate. In fact, if you look at the combined storage capacity of all these tanks, it's about 265 TMCFT. And now that is equivalent to a large project like Nagarjuna Sagar. Now the ability to harness that potential, combine it with large irrigation projects like Kaleshwaram, made the virtually impossible possible, in the sense Agricultural activity has expanded in Telangana by 119%. Agriculture's contribution to GSDP expanded from 16 to 21%. Now this is something truly astounding, considering that there is considerable amount of distress all over the country, but in Telangana, I think we've done rather well. And we've also come out with some innovative programs like Raitu Bandhu, which eventually inspired the Prime Minister as well to launch PM Kisan. Raitu Bhima, which is basically an insurance for every farmer, is something truly unique in the world. Nearly 4,040,000 farmers in Telangana are insured to the extent of almost 5 lakh rupees. Even in the case of a natural death, LIC has been given the mandate. So these are programs which have really encouraged farmers to expand their activity, and as a result today, Telangana's agricultural produce is something that we take a lot of pride in. We have become the granary of India. We are second only to Punjab in rice production. In fact, our paddy production was so much that even Food Corporation of India had to throw its hands up and say we can't procure anymore from Telangana. So that's how much agricultural output has increased from our state.
How successful have you been so far in rejuvenating these water bodies?
Well, in fact, more than 50% of the water bodies have been rejuvenated, and the remaining, of course, it's an ongoing work. But I think it's a fascinating model because, in districts, in a parched, drought-prone district like the one I represent called Sirsila, groundwater has come up by about 6 meters. In fact, water conservation measures that we have followed in our district have become a shining example, and now they have become an integral part of the training academy, Lal Bahadur Shastri Training Academy in Mussoorie, for the young IAS trainees. So that's how well we've done in water conservation as well.
Aviation is another area where you've got international majors, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, helicopters, fixed-wing aircraft, engine manufacturers, they're all in India. This helps a great deal in skilling people in your state and opening up an ecosystem.
I am a firm believer in the power of aviation, and in fact one of the things I believe is not only for India but for the Middle East, for Southeast Asia as well, India has the potential to create an aviation university. Our ambition is to create also an aviation university. While we have Pratt & Whitney, we have Aero Campus Aquitaine, all these institutions working for my state. We also have collaborated with Cranfield University in UK to set up a campus in Telangana. Our ambition is larger, not only aviation but aerospace and defense. A comprehensive ecosystem is something that we are working on. It's of course a work in progress, but I think with the kind of investors we've been able to manage so far, the likes of Lockheed, the likes of Sikorsky, GE, Boeing, and a bunch of others, I think the opportunity is immense.
In terms of being a real leader in IT as well, and the opportunities which have always existed in Hyderabad, and a lot of this has been realized already, how important is infrastructure development in your big cities, particularly in Hyderabad?
Vishnu, the fact is, while Mahatma Gandhi may have said India lives in villages, fact is India actually is run by its cities and towns. Because more than, for instance, if you take my state, a city like Hyderabad, which almost 10 million people, 1 crore people, is the economic engine that drives the state. Now, if you look at India as a country as well, the top 10 cities in India literally run the country, because 50% of our GDP or more comes from these cities. It's extremely important to nurture these cities, and it's extremely important to also ensure the social fabric in the cities is conserved. So therefore, in Telangana, in the last 8 years, our city, Hyderabad and others, we have given massive encouragement to creation of urban infrastructure. We have ensured that drinking water as a facility, because we've seen cities where drinking water has to be ferried in a rail tanker. We've ensured that that situation doesn't occur in Telangana. More importantly, power and road infrastructure, and even sewerage treatment for that matter. In fact, 100% sewerage treatment will be done in Telangana by the end of this year. So therefore, a lot of input has gone into it, but of course, it's again a work in progress, and there is a lot more to be done. Capital, of course, is something that we constantly try and find to create more infrastructure. But I think so far along, with the kind of rapid increase in investments, the rapid increase in the growth of our urban areas, our infrastructure, we are still playing catch up, but I think we will definitely improve.
Does Hyderabad genuinely have potential to grow any further?
Absolutely. In fact, Hyderabad is the one city in India which has got an all-round potential to grow, because if you look at it, the outer ring road that we have, which is 160 kilometers, has literally opened up Hyderabad. You know, Hyderabad is no more the GHMC, the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation. Hyderabad is now the HUA, the Hyderabad Urban Agglomeration, everything inside of the outer ring road and also everything possibly a few kilometers outside. And now with the RRR, the regional ring road also coming up, a 353 kilometers concentric circle outside of Hyderabad. The ability for Hyderabad to create countermagnets, to decongest the city, is something that we truly are looking forward to.
Right.
And most importantly, the ability for Hyderabad to continue to grow and continue to attract investments, because we see other cities in India crumbling in terms of their infrastructure. We see traffic jams, we see a number of other issues which are not the case in Hyderabad.
Right. So decongestion is a big priority for you going forward.
It's a huge priority, in fact, not just decongestion,
Must be
but
extremely difficult.
Decarbonization is also equally important, so therefore we're doing a number of things on that front. In fact, we are also an important hub for EVs and mobility. And electric vehicles, in fact, we have been able to attract some very large companies such as Olectra, which is the Indian arm of BYD.
Yeah.
They are setting up a large bus making facility. So is the case with another company called Mitra. Bility, three-wheeler manufacturer, is setting up world's largest three-wheeler EV facility in Telangana. So I can go on. There's plenty of other EV makers that have come forward.
Sustainable development and clean energy is a huge priority.
In fact, in clean energy, we are the number 2 state in solar, with 4.5 gigawatts of solar production. In terms of land mass, if you look at it, the first state is Karnataka and the second is us. But if you look at us as a land mass versus a generation of renewable power, I think we will be number 1, because we're substantially smaller than Karnataka in terms of geographical size.
Right. And would you be encouraging people over a period of time to make the switch to EVs as well?
Of course, EV adoption.
In other words, charging points?
Yes, charging
not just for cars, but also for
two-wheelers
public
and three-wheelers and
yeah.
public transportation.
That requires a huge, thought-out process and infrastructure and changing mindsets.
Vishnu, there's no dearth of capital in India now. You can attract the best of the names to India to ensure that we continue to create infrastructure, especially on the EV space, because I think it's an area which is exciting for a lot of private equity as well. So it's not an issue to attract capital, but I think what's important for us to realize is to encourage EV adoption even more. We have to do a lot more. In fact, like you said, public transportation, two-wheelers and three-wheelers and even passenger cars, I think all of it, a combination of all of this is something that the governments need to focus on.
Thank you very much for speaking to us, and congratulations on Telangana Day. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Cheers.